Wow, okay. I used to, how's everyone doing? I used to teach at a New York institution, and my students used to call me Professor Love. So now I'm very honored that I've come home and sort of elevated to Dr. Love. It's awesome. It's 2022. 24 years ago, I stood on this very stage. No, it's a bad ending. No, 24 years ago, I stood on this very stage and I addressed a bunch of 8th graders at their graduation. No, it ends bad. And you know, I prepared this it was like my first public speech, and you know, we just released our 4th album was like our breakthrough record, and yeah, all the parents know things fall apart. Anyway, and you know, so my publicist had convinced me like, yo, you should get out there and talk to the kids, and I was like, those kids don't know me, whatever. And so I gave this like really impassioned speech about like, you know, the practice and having a passion and all these things. And when it was time for the Q&A portion, like one student had a question, and the question was basically, yeah, like, do you know like real famous people like Andre 3000 and Avril Lavigne? And you know, for me at the time in 1999, 98, 99, I think the teachable lesson, well, number one was those kids, but you know, I kind of had a never again moment. I vowed never again to put myself in this vulnerable position in which, like, you know, and yet here I am again as Dr. Love. So thank you. If you're familiar with me, if you follow me on social media, you know I'm very loquacious, and I'll do these like gargantuan 12-paragraph post about music history or whatever. But I don't know. I had something prepared, but I'd rather just wing it and speak from the heart. And I'll keep it short because I know you guys want to get your diploma. And not to plug myself, but we have the Roots picnic this week, and I got Mary J. Blige rehearsal soon. So, but the thing is that you know all of us have we're sort of united in common ground with what we went through in 2020, and I will say that. Be it for the good or for the bad, none of us were ever the same afterwards. So, you know, just sitting there, especially hearing the young lady's journey of her being a 1.89 student and now she's valedictorian. Wow, I was inspired. So instead of, you know, doing the cliche, follow your dreams thing, no, yes, I want you to follow your dreams, but it's important for me to really, I guess, really speak from the heart, and I'd rather leave you, instead of like the grandiose statement that you see every sort of person that is in this position give to you, which will go in one ear and out the other. I'd rather leave you with kind of a minuscule seed that I'm pretty sure that will stay with you, hopefully will stay with you. Not just if you're graduating, but anyone in this room, from the people that work here to the students here. And it's important to plant small ideas. And I think the number one thing that I could say, the sort of pressure that we put on ourselves to like win and overachieve, that's probably the most dangerous idea that at least my generation, yes, whatever, my boomer generation, and the generation before me and before, you know, like we try to force feed you. And I always felt that that produced diminished results. And, you know, look at where Michael Jackson is, look where Prince is, look where Whitney Houston is. Like, I can go on and on. For me, art is not, even though, yes, I do make a great living, and I found a way to make a great living, taking my passion and, you know, making a great living out of it. But I think that your art really should be your passion, and it should be a fire within your soul. And your art isn't a key to world domination or to be a billionaire and, you know, to do whatever, and you know. And, you know, and I'm just as guilty for trying to indulge in that that sort of rat race. You know, I came up in the 90s and we were all trying to play catch up and whatever, be the next Jay-Z and the bloated hedonism and all the Hype Williams videos. Like, I was part of that. And I realized in 2020 that your art has to be your passion. And I find it really ironic. You know, I've been in the entertainment business since I was 5 years old. And I find it really weird that at the age of 50 is when my dreams started to come true. And that's because, you know, making Summer of Soul was more about, well, first of all, not going crazy, just worrying about if my family's okay or if there's enough hand sanitizer. Everything's getting a woo, even hand sanitizer. But, you know, it was a true passion project, and I definitely wasn't in the position of thinking like, oh, this is gonna be something meaningful one day. I just thought that, okay, I'm gonna do something cool and, you know, and it'll go away. But your art has to be your passion. And number two is dream more. There was an interview Michael Jackson did in the 70s in which he told Don Cornelius, the host of Soul Train, that his favorite pastime was daydreaming. And, you know, I kind of like scoffed and laughed in that sort of naive Disney Michael way, like, whatever, daydreaming. Like, who gives that as an answer? And what's really weird is that, you know, I was dismissive about how silly that looked in quotes, and only to realize, like, dreams are all that we have. And oftentimes, we're not encouraged to dream. I kind of grew up in a generation where uncles and teachers at my school or whatever, even my own father kind of wanted me to find something safe. Like, I lived in fight or flight. If you lived where I lived in West Philadelphia, it was more about getting through the week. You know, like, a lot of people whoever had a position in the pandemic where they couldn't believe that we're living this life. Like, for some of us, that was like an everyday occurrence if you lived in the crack 80s. And so, you know, oftentimes, especially people that look like I do, you're not encouraged to dream at all. It's more or less you're encouraged to hustle, survive, you know, all those tropes that you hear, like, especially in hip-hop songs about hustling. And I really regret laughing at that, because now I think dreaming is the most important thing. And that's all we have. So basically, again, I want you to follow your passion, and I want you to dream more. And I'll wrap it up, I promised. There's an exercise I would like you guys to do after you get your diplomas, because I know that you'll probably feel that pressure to make something happen now that you have your degree. And there's an exercise that I did in the pandemic in which I take a blank piece of paper, just get a memo, and write the 50 things that you want to manifest for your life. And the reason why I stress 50 is usually because you don't start really getting honest about what you really want till like number 27, you know. And, you know, that's when your intentions and your passions really come out. And I would also say it would behoove you guys, unlike myself the first time I did this experiment, to make sure that things like liking yourself, loving yourself, should at least be in your top 5, you know, way above like getting new tires for your car, that sort of thing. Before you start your day, I would like you guys to sort of do an exercise in which before you check your email, before you see how New York Times tries to stump you on Wordle or whatever, I do this exercise where you have to be nice to yourself, and I go to the mirror and talk to myself for 10 minutes. And the reason why I say and stress that's important, because oftentimes the voice in our head, like, we're so mean to ourselves, and we say stuff to ourselves that we wouldn't allow anyone else to ever say to us. And I got 6 Grammys. I helped create Hamilton. Like, I did all this stuff. But if anyone, no, time out. I'm just saying that if anyone relishes and lives in that self-doubt, imposter syndrome, even at this late stage in life, up until the pandemic, like, I was the poster child for that. And I recommend that you get into the habit of listening to your dreams and talking and encouraging to yourself, because that's important. And lastly, I just want to say, back maybe 15 years ago, we did this kids show called Yo Gabba Gabba. Wait. I forgot now that it's 2022, so a lot of you are GABA age now, whatever. The reason why I brought up Yo Gabba Gabba was because that was sort of like the first time in which anyone under the age of 7 started to recognize me, and parents would grab me in the airport. This is back in like 2005, 2006, and they would ask me, like, Questlove, like, say something inspirational to my kid. What do you recommend? And again, I'd rather be effective than to be performative. And for me, the number one thing that I could recommend is embrace boredom, embrace silence. Why? Silence is where inspiration truly comes from. And oftentimes, the temptation to check our phones every 3 seconds, look on TV, to self-soothe, self-stimulate. Like, we live in an age now where we constantly have to entertain ourselves. And it wasn't until the pandemic in which the sound of silence was the sound that I heard the most. But it's also where I heard the most ideas and inspiration. And even if you're in cramped spaces, I'm certain that you could at least do 5 to 10 minutes in your bathroom. I won't confirm or deny that maybe my first few books were written in my bathroom, so the bathroom is a place to get silence or solace, if you will. But silence is golden, and once you receive those ideas, you experiment, you play with those ideas. I think that we should all go back, when you get passion and inspiration and ideas, we should all go back to when we were 5, 6 years old, and that's when we're at our purest as far as creating. And I just want to say that I'm really, really proud of you guys. I know that often you dreamed of this moment happening. We didn't think that we would, and we're not over the hump yet. Yes, the COVID's not over, but I'm really proud and to be a representative of Philadelphia, and I'm honored to receive this. Thank you very much. Thank you.